You don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. And no, I don't wanna be alone.
Hey there YouTube, this is Cine for Cine Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing a animated film called Nezha, something like that. It's on Netflix. It's subtitled, and it's made by I believe a Chinese company. So this film is what I would consider a high fantasy martial arts film, but it's also animated. The animation is really well done, and the colors are really vibrant, and certain scenes, if you like fantasy kind of histories, you'll notice some similarities with other things fantasy. This one starts off with this, what's called a chaos pearl, and apparently it's sitting there sucking up all this energy, and these guys are, two of them, they're trying to vie for this one last spot among these immortals. So they start having a fight with the chaos pearl in order to basically get it under control. But unfortunately for them, it's kicking their butt for a while. So then the basically the ancient wise dude, I would equate him to God, shows up and basically gets him under control. And what happens is that elderly Gandalf slash God guy, he's like, okay, well, go ahead and guard this thing. In 3 years, it's gonna basically be destroyed by lightning. So just don't let it out of your sight in 3 years, and it's gonna be taken care of. So he tells it to one of the dudes that was vying for it. So the other dude, obviously, he gets jealous. So that's your friction, conflict. So they go and they show what happens. This kid is born and gets infused with one half of the chaos pearl, and that's going to be Nezha. And the jealous dude, he absconds with the other half and basically gives it to this really old dragon dude. And the dragon dude is like, okay, well, I'm going to infuse my soon to be born child with the other half of the chaos pearl. So basically the dragons want to get out of their prison. They're underwater, and they've got to guard all these demons that have been defeated and basically stored or in prison underneath where the dragons are hanging at under the water. Okay, so back to the little kid. You get to see snippets of his life as he's growing up, and you get to know him, and he's kind of a jerk, and they're trying to teach him stuff and trying to get him to not be so mean to other people, but he's been treated poorly, so that's why he's basically a child acting out. So we get to see, as the plot moves along, the story going through a nice arc, and I don't want to say too much more, otherwise there'd be too many spoilers. But you can watch it, and I'm sure you'll see all these things. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. And you get to see some total fantasy stuff as far as like Asian style fantasy. Like there's this flying pig. I think this means very tropish of the Asian fantasy. The really big, fat, goofy guy. I think it's another trope. You'll even see that in just regular live-action martial arts films. So it's got really good animation. Story is well done, and the basic plot, if you look at just super simple, is somebody growing up. Is it going to be based on what they're fated to be, or what they're basically like nurtured by their parents? Is that have any effect on them, as well as any of their friends growing up? So it's really interesting to see that dynamic in an animated movie. And we get to see the good versus evil conflict as well. And you also, the music isn't like stand out, but it's very interesting. It's got some clear comedy. If you know any of the older 80s movies, you're like, wow, that's really funny that they threw in that music in this scene and it made it look like this one movie. I don't want to say what it is, but I thought it was really funny because as soon as I heard it, I knew exactly what it was, because my head is full of movie trivia, I guess. But overall, I'm gonna give this film an A. I highly recommend it. It's, I think, like an hour and 40 something minutes. Well worth your time. You get comedy and you get emotional stuff, good music, and the only problem you have is because the subtitles sometimes go by a little bit too fast. You might miss a few things, but it's not really going to affect the story that much because you can tell what's going on visually, because it's a very visual film. And I will see y'all in the next review. If you like this review, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get all the notifications when I come up with a new video. And I will see you again when I'm doing either another review or some miniature stuff.